Good morning. Whoop, there we go. Little technical difficulties with this setup. Let me make sure everyone can hear me well enough. Okay, good. I was thinking this morning, and so I decided that the best way to get my thoughts out was to film it, and I'll put it up wherever I feel, I guess, is necessary after I do that. I was thinking about some biblical perspectives, and I'm not really concerned about where you fall in the acceptance or denial of that. I don't think that's the point of the discussion. I just think that there's some really neat truths that, regardless of your standing on the book, it it does play into our life and it does play into our future. And so the place where I wanted to start was the Apostle Paul writes in Philippians 4:12. He said that I've learned to be content regardless of my circumstances. Now, we know that historically he's writing that from prison. And to say that he is content in prison or regardless of whatever circumstance he's in, it requires us to unpack it, or to unpack that statement. And I want you to hear that he is content, not complacent. So I'll first start with the difference. I mean, contentment means that I have a complete and total acceptance in where I currently exist and reside. Complacency is that I seek to attain no more. Complacency is I'm just going to be here and whatever happens happens, and it is what it is, a phrase that you hear too much, and I don't like to use that often. So, if I've learned to be content regardless of my circumstances, that tells me that contentment leads me to an idea of happiness and or joy, meaning that I know where I stand within myself and within my vision. And so, for us, how can we get there? How can we get to a place where we are content regardless of our circumstances? Because to be completely honest with you, I know that not every day is going to be perfect. Some days are going to be more trying than others. Some people are going to be more trying than others. Some relationships are going to be more trying than others. And there are relationships that add to you and subtract from you. There are relationships that multiply you and divide, and there are some that are incredibly divisive. So, how do we get to a place that, regardless of where we sit, we are content? And I think that it starts most importantly with purpose. See, to the biblical context, Paul had a very true purpose, which was to advance the gospel of Christ. And so, regardless of whatever situation he was in, he was content because he was assured of his mission. And so, for us, obviously, faith and religion, that's a pretty deep purpose that we can, align with. And so, perhaps if we pull ourselves outside of that, what is a purpose less grandiose, and yet more relatable to a broad spectrum? And for me, I think that I look at why I do what I do. And every single day I get up out of maybe some moral obligation that, as long as I can, I will work and endeavor to do better. Uh, and yet, at this point, what I've come to realize is the reason that I do this, the reason I do anything that endeavor to work or whatever it is that I'm presently occupying my time with or exchanging my time for money or whatever, is because I'm really, really trying hard to be the husband and father that I am supposed to be. And part of that in my own view or thought of it is, part of it's, monetarily providing, but the other part of it is emotional support and being present and, talking nonsensical things with my kid. We were just sitting down this morning having breakfast, and we were talking about salamanders and how there are salamander sharks. And I can't think of any better way to spend my time. I can't think of anything more true to a purpose than that. And I understand that there is no such thing as a salamander shark. I get that. And my kid is 4, so we're going to play that for now, that's just what we want. Um, so I see these as opportunities, and for me it was very unclear for a long time about what purpose would be, because for me it was always the next thing, like the next title, the next position, show that you're advancing. Because honestly, I didn't really have a purpose. I just kind of got up and worked, And I think that a lot of us can fall into that cycle where we get up, we go to work, we come home, we watch TV, we go to bed, and you wash, rinse, repeat the next day, and we don't think about why we're actually doing what we're doing. And I know that I've been guilty of that, and it's more clear to me today that my purpose is be a good husband, be a good father, and everything else kind of falls into place around that. So that's a conversation about awareness. That's a conversation about awareness. So am I aware of that which would be my purpose and where I stand within it? Because my purpose used to just simply be get the next title, make the next logical progression in your business, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get up every morning, you're supposed to go to work, you're supposed to progress, you're supposed to get promoted, you're supposed to get hired, and you're supposed to get, find your way higher up and do other things. All the while making an impact, and hopefully people liked you along the way. And that's good. It's just not great. And for me, it was not enough, and it's never been enough. I didn't know that. I was not cognizantly aware that that pursuit was not enough for me. And within the pursuit, I started taking time to sit and think. And I always make the joke, I talk to myself because sometimes I need expert advice. And that's not exactly accurate. I need a lot of people around me, and I have quite a lot of people in my world that help me when I stray off course. And yet I am painfully sometimes self-aware of where I sit and how I'm doing. And so I want to think about and spend time in the thought of where am I and what's going on? Like, how am I doing? Check my temperature. How are things at work? How are things at home? Am I being the dad that I want to be? Am I being the father that I want to be? Am I being the employee that I want to be? Am I being the business owner that I want to be? The coach that I would endeavor to be? And I'm probably way more harsh as a judge than the people in my world are. And I think that we all can probably say that about ourselves. We're harder on ourselves than we are on most people. And so there's got to be some grace in the thought, or the grace in the evaluation of, okay, where am I? I said this to a coaching client of mine earlier in the week. I was like, there is a time in your life, like 10 years ago, you is dying to be where you stand today. And I think because it's so far in the past, we don't remember, and we don't think about it, and we don't give ourselves the time to say, I have accomplished quite a lot, and give it however long you want to give it. I've accomplished quite a lot. And I don't think that we sit and enjoy our own accomplishments. We don't sit and enjoy our own accomplishments because people very often are going to tell us that that we have a big ego, or that we're conceited, or that, we, any number of derogatory comments. And I I just disagree with that. I mean, I think that if you can't celebrate yourself, then you're going to lose yourself. And then you're just going to be continuously seeking the next piece to validate you. But you're already valid. If you're watching this right now, congratulations. You have met with every challenge life has thrown at you, and you've come out victorious on the other side. Or you're working to become victorious if you're in a struggling situation right now. And so wherever you are, we can build a plan to get past it. We can build a plan to get through it. We can decide what comes next. But before we ever decide what comes next, we have to evaluate what got me here in the first place. Because there's actually a lot of power in understanding how successful we've been. And to say that, some of you are going, well, I haven't been successful. Really? I beg to differ. You're still here. You've made it. I don't care what your bank account looks like. That doesn't define success to me. Have you learned anything? Have you grown as a human? Are you better today than you were yesterday? And in all likelihood, you probably are. And if you're not, and you're sliding into a world of oblivion and everything's going terrible, reach out and grab somebody. Reach out and grab somebody. There are people in your life that will help you. There are people in your life that want to help you. And here's the thing. People are really good at offering help. People are really bad at asking for it. So if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going, reach out and ask for help. Ask me for help. I'm happy to do it. With the biggest skill for successful people, I think the number one trait that I see in everyone that has attained any level of fiscal financial success is that they're willing They're willing to ask for help. Paul writes in Philippians 3:12. He said, "Not that I've already attained it or become perfect, but I press on in the pursuit of that which we've talked about, what his mission and his goal is. Not that I've already attained it or become perfect, but I press on." So we have to realize that we're on a journey, and perhaps we should be less concerned about the outcome and more concerned about the pursuit. If I'm clear on my purpose, if I'm clear on where I want to go with my life, then the joy has to come in the pursuit of it, because the attaining of a goal means you have to start back at square one and figure out what you're going to do next. So think about life, think about business, think about relationships, think about free time. What is your life? What is your life? Is it a random amalgamation of happenings that you experience? Or is it a purposeful plan that you create and execute? I say this frequently. Is life happening to you or because of you? And if life is happening to you, build a plan, take ownership, and start making life happen because of you. Start making life happen because of the choices that you choose to make. But you have to first think, what is my life? Is it a series of random events, or is it something that I can purposefully say I'm working towards? And then what's your business? What do you do? I'm not going to ask you if it makes you happy or not. I don't think that's an entirely different video, I think. But what's your business? What do you do? Is it progressing? Is it going the way that you want? And then who are you in relationship with? And when do you take time for yourself? And when I say time for yourself, I don't mean, I guess the easiest, like, time for yourself would be time that I'm alone. Some of us like it, some of us don't. But time to be alone and present with yourself. We talk about presence in your business. We talk about being present with your key relationships. We talk about being present with your spouse or your children, and not, letting the phone distract you or anything. But when are you present with you? When was the last time you sat and just thought about yourself, thought about your journey, thought about what's important to you, thought about your values, thought about faith? I think that we're really, really good at doing, and we're not really good at pausing and slowing down and taking that time for ourselves. And so I would encourage you that that's where this has to start. You have to carve out, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes a day for you, you have to carve out a time to just be in existence with yourself. And the person you're going to meet there, you might really, really like. Take action. If you don't have the people around you that are going to move you forward in the direction that you want to go, find new people. But surround yourself with people that are going to push you forward, not people that are going to hold you back. And I know that that's, advice that you've probably heard before. And I'm going to continue to echo it until we all start doing it, because I want people in my corner that say, yes, you can, not no, you can't. Find time to enjoy where you are and think about where you've come from, because you've made great strides so far. Make sure you're taking time to dream about what comes next, because you can't hit what you can't see, and you can't seek what you don't realize you want. So take time to dream. And finally, just go for it. The world is waiting for you to impact it in a great way. And I say great, I don't mean huge. You don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner. You don't have to build some, fantastic invention. You just have to be your pure and true authentic self and give that to the world, because the world desires it. Because together, great things happen. And when you get to shine the light on who you are and you get to give that to people, the world is so grateful for that. We're all grateful for people existing in their most talented role, in their most impactful role. And that impactful role might not be huge. It might not be at scale. It might not be a 10x whatever growth or anything like that. It might just be 2 or 3 people that are positively impacted by the words that come out of your mouth or by the person that you are. And you know what? That's a big impact. These are It's a really good opportunity as we move into our, I don't know, this time of year when we're giving, when we're loving, when we're caring about people. We got to remember to care about ourselves. We got to remember that we're no good to anybody else unless we're first good to ourselves. So be good to yourself. Take time for you. Do something that you enjoy and give the greatness that's inside of you to the people that are in your world. They deserve it, and you deserve to give it. Have a great day.